All right. Looks like we're rocking and rolling now. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Um, as you've been catching me lately, I've been talking a lot about AI and all the new developments. It really feels like this was the week that AI entered our world, entered production music libraries world. I knew, obviously, at some point this day would come. And it really just felt like this kind of slow creep, slow creep, slow creep. Nothing's happening, nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden, I'm hearing from multiple people. I'm hearing from some libraries that I work with. I'm getting some interesting updates from the PMA. And it's like, okay, AI is now in our industry and it's definitely starting to creep in here. So, this is definitely our moment to figure out how we're going to proceed with all of this. And so, I guess part of this is me kind of wanting to bounce some ideas off of you guys. I really want you to be interactive with me. I want to hear everything you guys have to say. I have heard everything across the board from absolutely, let's fight for this, let's go for it, let's use every advantage we possibly can. Let's do everything we possibly can to try to, not kill AI and try to like stop it or harness it or whatever like that, but just basically make sure that we don't get run over in the process where our talent, our hard work, our dedication to our craft just gets sucked up into a massive, really impressive rocket ship, and that rocket ship blasts off into Mars, into Jupiter, and the end of our galaxy and our universe. And we're sitting here on Earth going like, man, well, you're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed that talent and that fuel you used to get your rocket ship to where you are. But here we are going like, man, all right, we didn't get asked for permission. Nobody asked to take that data from us. We certainly didn't get compensated for it. And it already feels like data theft, right? It already feels like somebody is taking something from us without asking and without paying for us, paying for it. That's how it feels, okay? That's basically irrespective, or that's independent of whatever the legal standing is going to be. Maybe they will get away with a fair use argument. I have a pretty strong case as to why I believe they probably won't, and I'm going to release that video actually here this coming Monday. So I hope you guys can check that out. And, part of this also is for me to let you guys know that I don't have all the answers. Like, I don't know how things are going to work out. I know that I have a bit of a leadership role here with what we do and with this YouTube channel, with our community at large. But I'm not the guy that looks into the future and knows what's going to happen. And nobody else has one, not even the AI experts, the data scientists. Nobody knows what's going to go on. So we're all guessing, we're all doing our best, we're all trying to figure this out as we go along. But I do know that the one approach for myself that I know I'll feel good about at the end of the day, whether or not we prevail in terms of securing our right to be compensated and getting permission for our music being trained on, whatever happens, I'll have no regrets for trying, right? For putting up a fight, for pushing every possible button that I can, and for going for this at full throttle, because it's kind of like when you have a sort of like battle like this, which is, it sucks to have to call it a battle, but that's really where it's starting to come down to, a legal battle, not a physical one, of course, because it's coming down to a legal battle essentially, and a narrative battle in a way, right? Because I definitely think a lot of this has to do with the stories that we tell ourselves about what's going on and what our current, what's happening in our world. And by the way, if you guys are here, pop in the chat and say hello, because I see a couple of you guys watching, but nobody's in the chat. I just always want to make sure that the chat feature is working. Maybe I need to refresh this. Just want to make sure that we're not, I'm not speaking to the ether and nobody's here, or the chat's not working. So. And I haven't seen anything yet. So let me go ahead and refresh this. Hopefully it doesn't interrupt anything. If it does, I'll come right back. Let me just see. Tom is here. Okay, looks like we came back here. Oh, you know what it is? Is my quality pretty low right now, guys? Is it like stuttering a lot? Or is it okay? Because I actually am uploading a video right now, and I think part of that might be... all right, Tom's here, Zach's here, Cohen Hooer. I definitely didn't get your name right. Sorry, buddy. McKee. Seamus, all right, cool. You guys are here. You're hearing me. You're seeing me. I'm definitely getting some dropped frames because I am uploading a video. I probably should have waited for that to be done before I started here. How much more do I have left on that one? 87%. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll come back in a little bit once that's done. It's fine for you, Yele? You're not seeing any dropped frames at all? It was glitchy, but it's okay now. It seems like it's going back and forth. I I can see on my end it's a little bit low. Yeah. What to do? Should I restart this thing? I mean, I got 23 of you guys watching. I feel bad that I would be stopping it and starting it over again. So maybe we'll just deal with a little bit of a glitchy video every so often. Hello, Oliver, Mare. Good to see you guys. So where was I? Yeah, so there are perspectives all over the place on this. You know, that's my perspective. My perspective is let's go for it. Game on, right? Let's fight. Let's do anything we possibly can. Let's stand up for our rights. Let's try to, you know, have a conversation productively about it. We are, I mean, at least I'm speaking for myself. I'm pro technology. I'm pro AI, but I am not pro unlimited and unconsensual data scraping. That doesn't feel good. As long as the audio good. All right, cool. The audio is good. Ellie, thank you. Right on. Yeah, that's the part of it that I'm not obviously a fan of. I do not like to have my data scraped, and I don't like to have for-profit companies making money off of my data without including me on that revenue share. So that's definitely not cool with me. Not excited about that. So that's the part that I'm putting up a bit of a fight for, and trying to push back in any possible way that I can. Nrise is saying, I feel betrayed now while looking for a right kick drum, thousands of tracks being generated. It's an end. Yeah. That is the sentiment right there that I really want to dive into, Nrise, because you're not alone. This feeling of futility of what's the point, right? These are massive, often big tech companies that have billions of dollars at their resources. They've got all the lawyers, they've got all the technology, and it obviously feels like a losing battle trying to fight, you know, us little peons here in production music, fighting against these massive players in the world. So I can totally agree and not agree, but I should say I can totally empathize and agree that that is a very, it's a hard place to get out of, and it's a very easy place to slide into. That's basically what I can say, because I've been there a few times, wondering if it's even worth trying, because it's like, you know, even if we fight or whatever, it's just by the time these AI models are going to get so good, so what's the point of us even making music? And that's definitely something I don't want to blow past, or just like write off, or just tell you like, well, just get out of the way if you don't want to be a part of this fight. You know, I don't feel good about kind of like, you know, this is not a moment for tough love with that kind of sentiment. I don't think so. I think this is a time to let people know and let you know, Nrise, and anybody else who's feeling that way. I have felt that way as well. Okay. And this is a really weird situation that we're in. It's a very troubling one. It's a very tricky one. It's a very challenging one. It's an uncertain one. And it's not only just going to make us second guess like whether or not stock licensing or sync licensing will even be a viable option in the near future. That's certainly a possibility. But even bigger than that is, who are we then, right? Like, what's my purpose in life if the thing that I thought I was really great at and had a talent for and really enjoyed is now being done by an algorithm, right? By a prompt, by a couple of buttons. And, you know, that's a big question. That's a more identity-based question. We're going now into the core of who we are as, you know, human beings. And maybe we shouldn't get into that conversation today, but I just want you to know, all of you that are in that space, probably more of you than want to admit or want to put it out publicly that we're struggling with it. We're all there. In one way or another, at different times, we have all been thinking about that. And some of us have been better about pushing it to the back of our minds and going like, I'm not going to worry about it. Some of us, it's just constantly right in the front of us, and it's defeating us. It feels like it's like, why even try? One thing I want to actually ask you guys, for those of you that have dealt with that in one way or another, here's what I've noticed for myself in the last year. The moments when I am feeling the most bummed out about AI and the most just depressed about the future and thinking like there's no future, why even do this, whatever, why even make music? The moments where I feel that happen to be the times in my creative journey where I feel very low. Like I'm not making a lot of music, or the music that I'm making I'm not that excited about, or maybe I'm in the middle of a track and it's getting me stuck and I'm not feeling really good about it, and I'm kind of getting that defeated feeling anyways. And it's like I'm already kind of like very weak at that moment, and then like the AI weight of it just goes and it's starting to crash on me. Hey, Bjornar is here. Bjornar, we just had a great conversation. We're going to release that video, I think not next week, but the week after that. Bjornar was one of the reasons why this is a topic that I really want to focus a lot more on. I'll get to your comment in just a second, Bjornar, but I'm glad you're here, man. But I've noticed that the moments when I'm just feeling really depressed and bummed out about music in general, that's when I get this extra feeling of, and why even get back on the saddle, because AI is going to come and do it better than me anyways. And I just want to go All right, I'll go ride horses, or I'll go get some new hobby or something like that, right? But on the flip side, the moments that I am excited for music and I'm on fire and I'm making music and I'm loving it and I'm coming up with lyrics and melodies, all these cool things, and then I hear about something scary with AI, it really doesn't faze me at all because I'm in the flow. I'm in this creative place. I love what I'm doing. And my confidence comes from, yeah, I might be making music faster, more cohesively, cheaper, all that kind of stuff. It's beating me across the board. I got to take the L on all those. But you know what it can't take the L on? What I can't take the L on and what I'll always win at? Being me, right? Like the music that I'm making is the music that I want to make. It's my voice, it's my lyrics, it's my thoughts. Of course, I've learned from every other artist that's come before me, right? But it's really what I'm going through right now. It's the story I want to tell, it's the melodies I want to put out there, and it's uniquely coming from my energy, right? It's funny, I was talking to my mom about this on the phone yesterday, and that's what she kept on saying. It's like, it's your unique energy that people are going to pick up on. Even if it's an AI model that's making beautiful music, there's going to be a different energy to that than there is to your music. And I was like, you're absolutely right. And each one of you guys watching this right now, you have a unique signature and a unique energy from your music, and an AI model just cannot have that. Of course, they're trying to get it right now for free and scrape it and make a sort of, for-profit model on the other end of it. And that's what I obviously want to basically push back against. But in the comments, let me know right now in the chat, like, has that tracked with you guys in terms of the moments that you were feeling bummed out about it happen to be in the moments that you're also struggling in the creative process, and vice versa, when you're just on fire and loving music that you're just like, I don't care what AI is doing, have at it, I'm still going to keep doing what I'm doing. Does that track for you guys too, or are you guys having a different sort of experience with it? I'm really curious. Let me read some of your guys' comments. Yelly saying even big companies have to answer to the law. It stands and falls with regulation. Yeah, absolutely. So as of now, tech companies haven't controlled the government yet. In the future, we'll see if that is where we're looking at. But for now, there still is a thing called copyright law. There's still a thing called fair use doctrine. And so there are still courts that can obviously force companies to comply with them or be forced to pay fines if they're not. Tom saying, I find it hard to fight when most of the general public feels like they have a right to access everything for free. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if the public right now feels that they feel like they have to access everything for free. I mean, is music free now? Technically, yes, because if you have an internet connection, you can get everything. But if you have basic, let's say you're just getting your music on YouTube and you're not paying for any streaming services and nothing like that, you're going to be watching ads. So you are paying for music in one way or another through that. Now, if you don't want the ads, you got to pay Google, right? Because you can do the premium, so you don't have to watch the ads. But most people that love music are paying for some sort of a streaming service now. Granted, it's not a lot, but they are paying for it. So, yeah, I mean, people obviously, but you and I are the same, Tom. Like, if I can get something for free, I'll take it for free. So I don't know. This is just like the general public is wanting something and we're completely different. It's like we want to be valued for our stuff, but we definitely do like having things for free as well. Like that's a human being trait. We all want as much as we can. We want to basically always like get the fruit at the very top of the tree that we know is like the juiciest without having to risk our lives to get it. So if I can just use a stick, the least amount of effort to get it, I'll take that trajectory. That's what we're doing here with our technology, right? This is a very complex version of it, but that's all we're doing right here. We're trying to be as efficient as possible to get the most amount of knowledge, data, resources, music, whatever it is, for the least amount of, that we can pay for it. Okay. Nobody wants to pay more than they have to for the resources that they want to enjoy. We all, obviously want to save a buck here and there, right? So I understand the sentiment, but this is just human beings that we were kind of struggling with. So I don't know if that's a general public thing. I mean, we are the general public then. That's what I'd say. We're a part of it as well. All right, saying let's generate some samples. Are you talking about us training AI models? That's definitely something that I think we should certainly be curious about. I would agree with you there if that's what you mean. In Vado, where most of my income generated, forced composers to agree to use their music in data training. If you do not agree, go out from the market, though they are promised share from this AI model. In Vado, that's the one that has the video editing software, right? I think I used them actually, and they had some AI music in their editing suite. It wasn't great, but it was in there actually, and that was about a year ago though, so I haven't been using it. So Bjorn R, hey, appreciate the work you do around AI and the thoughts a lot of us have. Can't stay for long. Just take care and have a great weekend. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, you guys will see that interview I had with him probably in 2 weeks from now. And Rise is saying what's even more sad, that most people seem not to care about quality at all. I've already seen commercial ads with AI music, which sounds like crap, but nobody cares. Well, this is our big problem right now in Rise, especially for sync licensing. It doesn't matter that it's AI music or human created music, because people watching TV generally, on average, don't even know that there's music in the background. They don't even notice it. Sometimes music is so low, it's like you couldn't even hear it anyways. But even if they can hear it, the general public, you're right, we don't have a direct relationship with our audience. So when it comes to production music, stock music, we are definitely in the crosshairs here, because our weakness is we don't have a direct relationship with the audience in terms of like, hey, this song was brought to you by, Vittorio or Jesse or Yele. Look at this cool guy. Look at their cool life. Like, aren't you interested in their music? None of that's happening in our business. We don't even get an on-screen credit. Our names aren't even on there. No love, right? No direct connection, right? So any industry, not just in our industry, but any industry across the board where there's little to no value in the human-to-human connection, that's where the biggest threat to AI technology can come. So this is why I took this stuff extremely seriously starting a year ago. As this is bubbling up now into our industry, I'm not shocked by it. Hopefully a lot of you guys that have been following me for about a year or more, you're not shocked by it. This is not something that we were just like, whoa, what happened, right? Because I knew people that wouldn't follow this stuff and take it seriously early on would be blindsided and feel like they have to now catch up on where the heck we are, what's going on, like how did we get here so quickly? We have gotten here quickly, but it has been sort of over the last year or two. This kind of basically, I've described it as it's been under the surface of the water. And this month, I feel like it's like, or maybe the last 2 months, is where the tip of it has come out of the surface. And it's now in the public consciousness that computers can make human level almost music. So we're basically at the very start of where it's now creeping into the sort of general public. So this is at the time to get extremely serious about it, not just in terms of all the stuff I'm saying, pushing back some legal fights, all that kind of stuff, but also kind of why I put out that really, I think, pressing series in Sync Academy. And I released a few of the tutorials here on my YouTube channel, whatever's back in August or July last year, was getting away from being a background instrumental producer with anonymous, anonymity and not having any sort of direct connection with the public, but putting yourself more in the spotlight of creating more of that human connection. Because I think there will be a future for a small number of high quality producers and composers in our industry. But you cannot be anonymous. You can't afford to be anonymous anymore. Like if they just need anonymous, cheap music, that's what AI can do for them. Even if it's not great, if it's good enough, they'll take it. It's going to be cheaper, right? And they don't really care. The general public, as you said, I agree with you. The general public doesn't care. So what's left? There's going to be, I believe, a natural, organic section left in our industry that will be still very healthy, I think, for some years to come, maybe decades to come, who knows? But you're going to have to put yourself out there as an artist to have a bit of a following, to be public facing, to have a little bit of a social media presence. Like it or not, that is the future of our industry. So that series I put out very, very, not too quickly. I was very thoughtful with it, but I put it out. It was like top of mind in terms of, all right, this is all I'm focusing on this summer. Because I knew that as this moment came, many of us would need to be sort of adjusting our approach to be ready for this as it's coming on. So there's still time to adjust. Obviously, adding more human elements into your tracks, more live recordings, vocals definitely got to be coming into your equation coming soon. Adding more human elements, human stories, lyrics, that kind of thing to your tracks. Definitely something that we all need to be doing. So if you are in Sync Academy and you never took those tutorials seriously, hopefully this is a wake-up call. Watch them, go take them seriously. If you're not in Sync Academy, a couple of those videos I did release here on my YouTube channel, at least the first couple of ones, to kind of give you an overview of the strategy that I'm recommending and the change that I'm making in terms of what I came up in and what my strategy was in my career is not going to work anymore. It's just not going to. You're going to have to adjust and change for this new world that we're kind of entering in. So definitely check it out. Consider joining us in Sync Academy if you haven't already, because this is what we have to do. We have to pivot. We have to change with the times if we want to remain relevant. All right, saying, in the end, we will all end up with a Neuralink in our heads making music as AI. Yeah. And I've heard that as well from many people commenting to say like, well, in the end, copyright is just not going to hold up and we're going to just move past copyright. And even something like that. Yeah, in the end, everybody's going to have a Neuralink where they're inputting all this stuff, and it's going to allow all of us to essentially have any, skill that we want to, whatever. Probably, maybe, you're right. That's all in the future, and I can see that. Let's fight one battle at a time, though, guys. Right? Okay, because like in the end, the sun is going to burn out, okay? And our universe is going to die out. It's going to die. It's going to freeze, right? That's what maybe some scientists believe is going to happen. Should we worry about that right now in 2024, right? Copyright, maybe at some point, might not last, beyond this technological revolution we're going through. But is that on the table today, like in the middle of 2024? Are we debating whether or not we should throw away copyright? It's not the battle we should be fighting and focusing in. Our efforts really need to be conserved for the battle and the playing field that's in front of us right now. And right now, it's about data scraping. It's about AI companies going on the open web and taking any piece of copyrighted content, specifically music, and training AI models and then creating for-profit models without asking for consent and out compensating. So that's the battle that we're in right now. I can't get sidetracked into futuristic scenarios where X, Y, and Z might happen. It's like, what about that? You know what? Probably, right? And when we get to that date, we'll deal with that, okay? But we got to really kind of take it one day at a time, one battle at a time, and not get ahead of ourselves and thinking we have to fight all the world's problems and problem solve the sun burning out right now, because hopefully we've got a couple of million or billion years before that happens. And let's not worry about that until we really need to worry about that, okay? So that's just my point of view on that. I appreciate it. I understand it. We are going into the Wild West. There's going to be ridiculously amazing, crazy, scary technologies in our future. There's just so many hours in the day, guys, and I've got a family, I've got other obligations, and I can't concern myself with everything at once. So not to say that you're trying to say that all right. I totally understand it. You're kind of making a joke there, but I do get that kind of pushback a lot from people of like they're like 5 or 6 battles ahead, and it's like, yes, when we get there, let's deal with that. But right now, let's pull together and kind of realize that this is the game that we're in right now, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Yelly said that his dad said the same thing about different energies. So cool. Yeah, we're all kind of vibrating on the same level there. So, and the mixed club is, you're saying, yeah, it kind of bums me out. Yep. Yeah, you're not alone, man. We've all been bummed out for sure from all of this. Absy's saying, I'm happy I don't have to do it to make ends meet. I feel sorry for everybody else. It happens so fast. Damn, I think it would take a model another 3 to 5 years at least. Yeah, I'm same thing. I was one of the ones being probably more aggressive with my predictions, thinking it was 2 to 5 years. Like when I made all these videos last year, go look at them. They're still up there. I was saying, yeah, 2 to 5 years, we're going to see something that's like human level. I didn't think we would be here in 1 year. I had no clue. I had heard some technologists that were predicting that. I was like, I think you're being a little bit zealous and you're just trying to get clickbait, and that's a little bit too aggressive. I'm not saying we are there right now. I'm saying we're 90% there. Fast forward to the end of this year, we're there, right? The AI models will be able to create something that pretty much is indistinguishable from a pretty average or good music composer. Maybe not beating every single one, but on average, it's going to do better than a lot of producers for sure. So we're going to be there by the end of this year for sure. So that's, I guess you could say it's around 2 years, but it's even before 2 years, I think. So. Sean is saying, I'll continue to write and produce music as normal. I feel if we just stop creating them, we just give everything to AI. Yeah, and that's really a great sentiment, Sean. I'm glad you brought that up. Us deciding to move on, regardless of what happens with AI, is a really, really important thing. And maybe we can get into that a little bit, but I want to get into your guys' comments as well. So Vittorio, hey man. Vittorio also was kind of cluing me on some stuff that he was saying about the industry. So that obviously got my attention very quickly. So we're kind of looking around to find out what's going on. There are rumors of things happening. Some things are not confirmed, but you can guarantee, here's what I can guarantee you. AI generative companies have been approaching libraries already. Now, luckily, from what I've heard, they're coming to them up front. They're not trying to sneak around them now. Some of them might have already snuck around them for sure, right? But the ones that I'm hearing about are ones that are at least emailing them and saying, hey, we would like to partner with you, and we'd like to potentially become a revenue share partner with you. And this is what we want to do with the music we train in your catalog. What do you think? And so library partners now and owners and publishers are getting approached by companies. So they're now having to figure out how to navigate that. So that's what I'm going to start doing. Partly behind the scenes, maybe some here publicly, is trying to at least educate library owners about what I know about all of that. And I think there can be some best practices, as we learned from, the stock licensing sites who allowed AI models to train on their catalog without asking for permission from their composers, even though they legally could. The contracts allowed them to. Boy, did that leave a sour taste in their mouth, right? Some of you guys maybe here watching had that happen to you, and you don't feel good about that. So just some common practices about, like, we're not saying, I'm not saying say no to every AI offer. If there's additional generative revenue share from these companies that can add to your bottom line and put more money in the pockets of you guys, I'm open to it. I am open to any mutually beneficial arrangement. However, let's know the risks. Let's know exactly what's at stake. What could they potentially do with the music that they train on? Is it going to potentially disrupt or take away some of our income, right? And what are we getting on the other end of it, right? For them training on our music and also allowing every and any composer producer in your catalog to opt out. Or basically saying people need to opt in order to be a part of these deals. And not every composer or producer is going to want to be a part of it, even if it means potential new income. Some are going to be uncomfortable with it. I'm going to really make a case to the library owners. If you want to maintain a really productive and healthy relationship with your composers, consent, guys. It's got to be above board. You cannot just do it and then later on say, hey, you can take your music out if you don't want to do this. Even if you legally can, probably most of them maybe legally can with the agreements they have. Consent, letting people know, being above board, being available, making the pitch to you, being available on a Zoom call or a phone call to answer questions. That's the only way to go forward with these kind of deals. So that's what I'm going to try to work on behind the scenes, getting them up to speed with what's going on here. Maybe putting some of those videos out here. What I'm going to count on all of you guys, you 44 that are watching, is some of these videos I'm going to be putting out. I'm going to ask you specifically to send it to your library owners. So please do that. Because some of them are going to be clued into this stuff. Others are so busy just serving their clients. They don't, we all have limited time. Everybody's got families and jobs and that kind of thing. Part of my responsibility and job here, I feel, is to try to keep us all up to date and on the cutting edge of this stuff. So your guys' job, your role in this is to keep your library partners up to date on all this stuff as well. So some of these videos you're going to see, I'm going to literally say, this is a video for production music library owners. And if you're watching this and you work with one, please send this video to them. This is what they need to know about this topic when it comes to AI and generative technology. So I'm going to really count on you guys to do that. So thanks in advance for definitely kind of playing along and playing your role. It's definitely going to help all of us kind of keep our eyes out for some just protecting ourselves. Seamus is saying, doing sync to the end, whatever it is. If it ceases to be a potential income source as a drummer, we'll go back to live performance or original music in bands. There you go. I love it that you got a plan to just keep making music one way or another. That's great. AI music is still not close to our creation in terms of quality and complexity, but it can replace some generic background music. Yeah, and that's right now, though, right? In the middle of 2024. I would not count on that towards the end of the year. It's going to be complex. It's going to have quality. It's going to have layers. It's going to have textures. It's going to be amazingly good by the end of the year. You can mark my words. You can mark this right now. This is a prediction. The end of the year, it's not going to be better than every producer or composer in the world, but the average producer or composer making production music library music models are definitely going to be on par with that for, like, basically, as you're saying, generic background music. We've got till the end of the year, I think, until that's a sure thing. I would be very surprised and shocked if that's not the case. Okay. Tom is saying human connection is a big part. I get excited when an artist I feel connected with releases music. I don't think it'd be the same with AI. Yeah. When it comes to like artists and original music and us just like being fans of bands and songwriters and that kind of thing, AI to me, for me, not for everybody, for me, it's not going to step in that lane because, yeah, the minute I hear something amazing from like a Spotify artist or a YouTube artist, YouTube is usually what I use. And it's like, ooh, this is cool. This is interesting. Ooh, those lyrics are really getting me going, right? The first thing I do is I go to YouTube, I type in the artist name, the band name, interview. Like, I want to see, what do they look like? Where are they from? Like, what's their backstory? How many people are in the band? How do they create their music? Are they touring? Can I see them live? We immediately get curious about who are these human beings creating this beautiful sound, right? So I don't think there's going to be AI music that sounds amazing and beautiful and it's going to capture our attention. It's definitely going to leave us. It's going to be kind of like junk food where it's like, it's what is it? Calorie rich, but nutrient shallow, right? It's going to have all of this just bells and whistles and oh my gosh, catchy lyrics and melodies and blah, 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 blah. And then you're going to go like, who is it? And you'll find out, oh, that was AI. And I just, for me, I'm going to feel this kind of sense of letdown of like, okay, cool trick you got there, bro. But I don't want to hear any more of that. Like, I feel like there's no rich social connection on the other end of that. There was no human to human connection on the other end of that. You know, the example I go back to is I heard this interview with Joe Rogan and Sam Altman talking on a podcast, but neither one of them were there. It was actually both AI generated voices and thoughts going back and forth. Novelty factor, 10 out of 10. Wow, that we have that. That's an amazing ability we have. I couldn't get through the entire thing. It was like an hour long or 2 hours long. I got through 5-10 minutes of it and I was like, I can't, why am I listening to something fictional? These are not the actual thoughts of Joe Rogan or Sam Altman. So why am I spending an hour of my day even listening to that? I actually care more about what the real human beings would say in real time in a real conversation, right? So I do believe for some of us, not for the general public, but some of us, we're going to require from these companies labeling techniques and labeling practices of saying, just like with our food, to say, I need to know if what I'm hearing is AI or human created, and please let me know. You can keep AI on the platform all you want. You can have AI conversations between fictional, things that didn't really happen for novelty, for humor, right? I think some of those are really funny. You hear like Johnny Cash singing, I'm a Barbie girl. It's funny. It's hilarious, right? But I want to know, like, if if a new song comes out and it's got some popular artist vocals on it, is this actually from them, or is this an AI altered version of it? So that's, I think, something that the marketplace is generally going to want, because we want to just have some transparency as to what we're consuming, in the same way that we want transparency in what we're eating, what's in here, what's the nutrient profile, all that kind of stuff. Is it organic? Is it not? I think we're going to get to that level where we're going to have these labeling systems across the board standardized. Jay Smith is saying, do you think Suno and Udio will help producers make music for sync licensing faster, and that there's a huge opportunity for making money? Yes and no. Right now, I don't believe that AI-generated music will be able to be copyrighted. So if you're going to be sending your music to let's say you generate it with Udio, the question will be, how much will you have to alter that output to then create a copyright that's going to be protected by you? Because no library is ever going to work with music that can't be copyrighted, because that means that they don't have any exclusive rights to the music that they're representing to their clients. That's a dead end. They will never say, and that's why a lot of libraries are already saying, if you're using any generative AI technologies to create your music, you need to disclose that to us, because that could be a problem for us. It can't be copyrighted. So we are in sort of murky ground. So it could, but you'd probably have to do a lot of work on the back end to basically alter it in some significant way, putting in your own effort to make it. But again, what you're doing if you do that is you might be able to make more money, but then you have no, again, original energy. Your energy does not come through that, right? Because it wasn't your creative ideas. You just prompted it in and it came up with something random. So you're sort of jeopardizing yourself by trying to compete with other AI music generators, which you're not going to beat that. I'll tell you that. You will never win that. But when it comes down to like an authentic human-to-human connection through your music, that's where you can shine. That's where you become the organic premium section, if that makes sense. So Zach is saying, I think it's about being oneself, unleashing one's creative energies. I'd be happy if someday government can compensate me just for being creative. Otherwise, we need to fight for AI for our livelihood. Yeah. And universal basic income is definitely this idea that is swirling out there, and that might be in our future. I don't know, what the future of that is. But if you've got massive layoffs coming as a result of AI kind of taking over a lot of jobs, what do you do with large swaths of the population that aren't working anymore? Do you pay them to just be creative and do what they want to do all day long? We're going to see a massive shift in society, definitely, one way or another, for better or for worse. No idea. We're too early on it, but we're definitely going to be going into some interesting places. So you're absolutely right about that. Vittorio, another thought. Do you think that these AI companies could support their business models with the race to the bottom pricing? They are expensive models in the end. I think about this all the time. Do you think that these companies could support their business model with the race to the bottom prices? So you mean like they're all just trying to get cheaper and cheaper, and could they survive that? I would say yeah, because especially if they're not paying for any of the data that they're training on, right? Like Suno and Udio, we don't know. They don't put it on their website. But if they did pay for data, right, and they did license it, and they did get consent from large publishers and large websites that had a lot of music, I would think they would put that on their website to say, we are ethical. We ask for permission. We are not just taking anything we can get our hands on. We're actually asking for permission from the hardworking, right? Wouldn't that be a badge of honor you would put on your website to kind of, you wouldn't want that negative stigma even getting associated with you. So you'd want to immediately, right on your front website, say, ethically trained, right? They don't do that. So if you could create something, and I don't know what their costs are to run an AI model, I'm sure it's not cheap, but if you could create something where everybody else's, basically all of humanity's creative efforts could be harnessed for free, never paying a royalty, never paying a dime, never paying even an upfront fee, all free, all of human creativity into your little black box that can create any variation of that music it wants, you could charge nothing, almost nothing, and still be profitable, because your cost of business is almost next to nothing, right? So I don't think that's going to be a problem for them to just go cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So that's probably like a dark, depressing thought. But yeah, no, I don't think that's going to be a limitation for them. In the current paradigm where they're not paying, where they feel like they can get away with it. So there will be some changes, I think, coming soon, though, that will not allow them to just have a to basically get their ingredients for free and just sell them for profit. I think they are going to be having to force to pay for it soon. And we'll talk about that in some of my videos coming up. I won't get into all those specifics right now. I already used Suno for breaking my writer's block. And sorry, I don't say your name because I don't read the language, so I don't know how to even pronounce the name. I'm guessing that's Russian, and I'm so ignorant I couldn't even tell you what language it is. Sorry, but I already use Suno for breaking my writer's block. Sometimes it helps. At least you could get a very draft idea that you could use, rewrite, and expand it to full product. So, yeah, you really have to expand it though. It's kind of the same thing with those vocal loops on Splice. Just throwing a pre-made vocal loop into your production music is pretty much the worst thing you can do. Not because it's breaking any sort of terms of service, but because it opens you up to potential frivolous lawsuits. You also potentially could make it a track that sounds just like anybody else. And you really are also shooting yourself in the foot by not creating any sonic uniqueness to yourself. And that's actually that's your biggest asset is the unique energy, right? The energy that you bring to your music. So the more you rely on somebody else making the music, the worse you'll be. I think, for myself, when I'm in a writer's block, I like to listen to other artists' music. And that kind of gets me unstuck, but then I know I have to kind of create something all 100% from scratch. But being inspired by the music that I heard, that's definitely my approach to it. And I know people think, well, there's a contradiction there or a hypocrisy there. That's what AI models are doing. Yes, but the difference is, and I won't spoil the surprise for you guys, but on Monday I'm going to put out a pretty, I think, hopefully devastating video explaining why that's not a great analogy and why there's a massive difference between how human beings are training on music and how AI music companies are training on music. And it's not so much in the training, but it's in the output capabilities. So you guys will learn about that on Monday. So Ed saying, go with the flow and deal with it as it comes. It's here no matter what. Absolutely. Taking one day at a time. At least hit the like button. Yeah, I'd appreciate that too. That'd be awesome, guys. If you could hit that like button, that'd be really cool. Jack is saying, I prompted the audio to the style of one of my favorite artists, and it said, removing artists, no permission. Yet one of the songs that generated the voice quite literally was the artist and said it was removed. Yeah, I'm hearing that all over the place too, Jack. I heard one track, somebody was prompting it in, and it literally was like no effects. It was like, how no effects sometimes, they're obviously a punk rock band, but they sometimes had these ska, kind of like dirty ska sounds with horns and stuff and guitars. And the track that it pumped out with the voice was like this raunchy, dirty punk ska track. And I'm like, that's no effects. Like, I know no effects. I've been a fan for many years. I know what they sound like, and that is obviously trained off of no effects. So they're probably doing their best. I don't know if you guys remember this. Remember when Google Music LM released their public version, and they I don't know if it was in the original release, but eventually they put this thing that said, oh, you can't add any artist names to it. We will just block that. We won't give you any music if you say, give me a punk song like Blink-182. It just wouldn't work. And many of us were guessing at the time as to like, well, why not? Like, if it's not trained on copyrighted music and it can rate something just like something else, couldn't Blink-182 be just metadata in a whole bunch of, royalty-free or public domain or paid for licensed music, right? Because there's a lot of punk music that in the metadata probably says Blink-182 like track, right? So why can't I say Blink-182? Well, again, two and two together, maybe Blink-182 catalog was trained on, and they definitely don't want to play with copyright infringement by telling their AI model, go to that data that you trained on and make something just like it, because it might reveal very quickly, wow, yeah, that's a song I know from Blink-182, or that's just like something they've done. So this is where the suspicion is coming in from my side and from a lot of people, from rights holders, publishers, all that kind of stuff. And this is why I think it's important to kind of start to again, not buy any propaganda and not just start blindly recommending and sharing these music resources when we don't know if it's safe to do so. A lot of these companies are paying or they're charging you for a copyright for the music they generate. The courts right now haven't ruled that you can own and copyright a piece of AI generated music. So what are they selling you? They're selling you snake oil. They're selling you something that maybe legally won't exist in a couple of years once we get a court case ruling. And I guarantee you we're going to get one sooner or later, I think in the next couple of years for sure. So they're gambling. I think a lot of these companies they're gambling. They're hoping they're going to get away with fair use. They're hoping they're going to be able to build a business model where they can charge you for a copyright for AI generated music. And, I don't know what the future is, but even if they approached me and said, Jesse, you want to be an investor in this? I would say, hell no. I don't want anything to do with that. It's way too sketch. I ethically don't agree with it. I morally don't agree with it. But above and beyond that, just the business model that they are building on very shaky grounds. I don't know what the future is going to be, and I don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. This is not confirmed. But boy, the writing's on the wall that they're going to have a lot of issues and legal challenges. So that's where we're going to have to go. So that's what I wanted to say to you guys. I think, the biggest thing here is if you do want to be a part of this, I'm not saying agree with everything I say. Please don't take that from this. I don't want everybody just to agree. Yes, whatever you say is right. No. If you do find you can poke holes in some of my arguments, if you can find sort of like some issues and like, well, I get what you're trying to do, but here's where we have a weakness. In other words, like, here's a little potential leak we have in our boat. Bring it to my attention, because we're all going to get smarter if we're all kind of looking at this, scrutinizing and being critical and kind of just being, just thinking for ourselves about this kind of stuff and kind of looking down to the pipeline of like, okay, well, this is going to do this. And some of you guys have been doing that, and I really, really appreciate it. And even those of you that are saying it's too late, big tech will be able to get away with it because X, Y, Z, I even appreciate that. It sometimes bothers me, but I also think there's value there as well, because you are the cynical ones that are going to always be kind of popping up with our weaknesses of something we should be more aware of in the future. So keep those comments coming. I want all comments. I want all of you guys to be a part of this, whether or not you're just saying, absolutely, I'm on board. I'm going to try to share the word as much as I can. Or you're like, Jesse, totally, this isn't even going to be worth your time in the long run. Here's why. I want that too, because all of these kind of things are going to make me smarter. They're going to make all of us smarter, all of us more better prepared. So please just keep the comments coming. Don't keep it to yourself. And whatever you're feeling, if you're feeling bummed out, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling this feeling of futility, what's the point? Be vocal about that as well, because we're definitely talking about that in Sync Academy. We're going to be talking about that here on this YouTube channel. And I think that's going to be one of the biggest topics we talk about for the next year and maybe for the next couple of years here in this community, because it's the big elephant in the room and too big to go over on just one live stream. But it's something that we should definitely be just realistic and honest about and say it's okay to feel weird right now about everything. We don't have to have it all figured out. Nobody has the answers to any of this kind of stuff. But we can definitely stick together, right? We can support each other. We can say, hey, sometimes digitally put our arms around each other. Hopefully this coming June 1st and 2nd at Sync Up, some of you guys will be there in person. We can physically shake each other's hand and have a beer and hang out with each other. But we're kind of all in this together. So I think that's kind of what we need to sort of hold on to, is hold on to each other and definitely kind of just be honest, transparent, put up a fight where we can put up a fight, accept where we can't put up a fight, but do our best essentially to kind of stick together through these troubling times. So thank you guys so much for hearing me out on this one, and stay tuned. Next week, very, very important videos, stuff that I need you guys to share with your production music libraries are coming very, very soon. So please do stay tuned. So you guys have a fantastic Friday and the rest of your weekend.